Hey there, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto here in Japan. We're looking at a WRX STi. This is the GC8 generation, the first generation of the Impreza. This is a version 3 from 1996 with 165,000 kilometers. Now I might be wrong about this because all of my information about GC8s comes from 15 years ago, but I believe the version 3 is the first one with the full 280 horsepower engine in it. Obviously comes with 4-wheel drive. The EJ20 is it's only a 2-liter, but 280 horsepower, even from a 2-liter of that day, was pretty good. Now we'll check the condition of this one compared to the auction inspection sheet. This one's going over to the USA. Okay, and firstly, the coolant is good and the oil is good. Overall condition of the car is a little bit fair to poor, I guess you could say, somewhere in there. The exterior needs basically full paint. The interior has some damage as well. It is still a solid car. It's definitely worth investing in. And these GC8s, no matter what the condition is, and this is far from the worst, they're still going to be worth getting. You can see here the top mount intercooler, strut tower brace. Both of those are stock items. It's a boxer engine, so the cylinders are sideways. That's kind of interesting. And then the red painting valve cover. See how it's peeling like that? They're basically all peeling. It's just a fact of life if you own a GC8. And it's only the STIs that get the red paint there. Otherwise, it's just, I believe it's non-painted in the other ones. No rust inside here. Suspension struts look fine. As you can see, close this up. And yeah, we're doing this one in our lot because our neighbor decided to park right in front of our lot, which is a little bit weird, but maybe it's retaliation. I understand it's kind of sucky that we have to shoot these reports on the road, but lucky for us, we got space in the lot to shoot this one now. Okay, so let's have a look at the auction inspection sheet here. I'm going to switch off the engine first off. Engine runs great. These engines tend to be really reliable. I know that people talk about the valve covers on Subaru Boxer engines. That's really not the case in the JDM ones, and I can say that with enough certainty now that I've translated like 1,000 of the auction sheets for these, and we've probably exported over 100 of these. There are some cars that we, over time, get to know what the fail points are because you see them over and over again coming up on the auction sheets, and maybe 2 or 3 or 5 or something of these have blown valve gaskets that I've seen. It hasn't been enough to make me think, wow, that's a weakness. I believe that's only on the USDM or the international versions of the 2.5 liter EJ engines. These 2-liter EJ engines, very reliable from what I've seen. Anyways, let's go have a look at this. It's a 165, 169 kilometers. STi version 3. This is an auction grade 3 with an interior C. Alloy wheels, power steering, power windows. No sales points and no reports from the seller. Really, there's not much to say about this in terms of sales points. You could say it's turbo, it's 4-wheel drive, it's 5-speed manual, but it is an original condition car with original suspension, original exhaust, original interior. Everything is just original. Okay, the report here says interior wear and dirty. Headliner is yellowed. Now, actually, it's been heavily smoked in, and anytime you see headliner yellowed, that yellowness comes from cigarettes, lots of them over and over again. So yeah, the interior needs a full detailing for sure. Steering wheel peeling, it's actually one of the worst peeling I've ever seen, so you'll get a look at that when we get to it. Driver's seat is saggy and ripped, which is a little bit weird. These seats usually hold up pretty well. This one's kind of a weaker condition than I thought. Door mirrors paint peeling. What is this? Front fog lights have been removed. Wheel scratched. Left side step is dented. Front support scratched and dented. And so that one there is the reason why it's a grade 3. Otherwise, this would be a grade 3.5. A lot of people don't realize this, but in order to get a grade 3, there has to be some sort of a reason for that to be the case. And here's the reason. Front support scratched and dented. And so basically, this car has hit something in the front, and it has dented your front support, which is underneath the front bumper down under here. And technically, that's frame damage, so it has to be graded a 3. Now, underside surface rust, left center pillar, paint and dented section on the bottom. So there has been a repair done to this section here. That might also be part of the reason why it's a grade 3, because that is also considered part of the frame. As you can see, no big troubles. The door still closes properly. The rear door opens and closes properly as well. Okay, and rear spoiler paint fade. Then looking at the body, we have A3 on the front bumper. It needs a full repaint. Also, the hood and the roof are both badly paint peeled, so those need to be repainted. We got some W2 marks over here, some paint fade, and then paint peeling on the rear bumper and the rear trunk. Okay, so let's do a once around. We're going to be a little bit limited because we got another vehicle that's right there. I know it doesn't look like it in the video, but it slopes down a lot here, and so I didn't want to have the car leaning over because it turns out to not look that good on the videos. You'll get one side that has high suspension and one that has low suspension. And I did have it positioned differently too, but the sun was like moving around and didn't want half the car in the sun. I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit picky, but I think that despite cutting off or like having the vehicle so close here, this is the best angle that we get for looking at it. Okay, so the STi of the early generations, 1, 2, 3, and 4, had this spoiler. This is the larger of the two at that time. The big spoiler, like the picnic table one over there, didn't start until the 5th version. And 5th and 6th got that one. Okay, I quite like this spoiler. I've seen an aftermarket company that puts a riser on it. So it's like a beam that goes across here and then brings this up a couple of inches. Very cool, but I believe it'd be really hard to find something like that. I guess you could make your own if you wanted to. That would be really cool. And the GC8s are a blank canvas. A lot of them are in a condition where they need to be refurbished or repaired. And in the future, like 10 or 15 years later, these are going to be some of the go-to cars that are going to get really expensive. So you're going to want to buy these as much as you can now if you can. If I had a warehouse and tons of money, I know what I would do. Okay, so yeah, the fog lights are missing there. Now usually the STi has fog light covers that go over top of them. I'm not sure if you can fit those covers without actually having the fog lights underneath it. I actually don't know the answer to that. This is a version 3 front bumper, which is 1, 2, and 3 use the same front bumper. The hood got changed for version 3 to a new version that kind of sticks out a little bit more. See how the grille comes forward a bit here and the hood comes forward? So that it was first on the version 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. The earlier models didn't look as aggressive, I guess. The headlights are a little bit different, a little bit smoother. See how this one has a bit of a kink there, right where it meets the grille. So the version 1 and 2 didn't have that and had a bit of a softer front end, even though they shared the same bumper. Okay, you also get different hood ducts. These ones here are pretend or not pretend, depending on what you want to do. There's a little panel underneath that you can take out so that you have a real vent there, but from factory they're in there normally with a little drain hole for when rain gets in them. You can see the fade and the peeling on it. And then if you look closely inside there, there's some rust on that cover piece. Okay. The hood duct here is also peeling. Only one of the windshield wipers has this, but it's got a lot of surface rust on it. The one on the rear is the same. Front bumper, the auction sheet called it an A3, which is severe scratches, or top level scratches. There's a big scratch here with some paint cracks. Some paint cracks here. A lot of rock chips like this. Also some touched up areas. And all the black here, they're all rock chips. So yeah, it's going to need a repaint. Now the car comes from factory with an alloy hood. It sometimes gets this. I've seen this on also the GTR's hood. Aluminum can corrode over time. And that's what it looks like. Okay. This one has been converted over to the clear markers on the front and the clear on the rear. I believe it is. There's too much to go over with the GC8s, but I believe that the version 1, 2, 3, and 4 all had orange here instead of white. Now it still illuminates orange, but the different color on the actual lens itself. And then the later model ones went to a clear like this. The headlights of the final, like version 6, were like crystal without the fluting in it. This one has the full fluting in the headlights. Okay, so going down here, it's actually not bad. There are a few things here and there you can see. Mostly just paint peeling on the mirrors is pretty bad. Paint peeling on this strip up here is pretty bad. And on the roof is very bad. Okay. Got a scratch there. No heavy dents, which is really good. These cars dent pretty easily. And so have a look at this. Having no really big dents in it is a nice plus. Okay, has a bit of rust here. And there's a little bit of rust at the bottom of the door here. See the orange? Just a touch. Let's open this door. Yeah, it's quite a bit more on this side. I don't know if you can see that. Alright. Impreza doors are still relatively easy to find all around the world. While the US didn't ever get the STi version, you guys got the 2.5 RS, I believe. Okay, back bumper, a little bit of a scratch, some more scratch over here. Got a little bit of rust here. The auction inspection should have found those little bits of rust. Luckily, they're not that big. Peeling paint. And here's that rear wiper as well. I couldn't really see the paint peeling on the back hatch, but there is fade. You can see it in this area here, possibly. And the rear bumper in this area here. Oh, that's over this. Going down here. Okay. And so the body, I'd say generally pretty good. Paint is a little bit weak, but, you know, 25-year-old car. And these are kind of economy performance cars, right? So they're built on an economy car chassis, and then you get the sports stuff, just like the Evos. Kind of like the Celica. I would say that the Celica is more like a sports coupe that they turned into a rally car. So door cards here have a little bit of wear on them. This goes on both driver and passenger. Not bad, really. Going in here, though, take a look at the steering wheel. It's really rough. Like peeling all the way back. And then the seats, they're usually in better condition than this. And if you look here, the fabric has gotten loose and has started to pill, which is a pretty common thing, but this one's looser and more pilly than most of them are. Also has a little bit of a tear there and a little bit of a tear there. Neither of them are that big, but and also sagginess here. There's some foam that has deteriorated inside. That's not a common thing on these seats. I've sat in plenty of them, probably over 100 GC8s, and yeah, they usually don't do that. Okay, door or the floor carpets, generally pretty good. Over here too. A lot of the interior feels gross and needs a good cleaning. But the nice thing about that is when you clean it and you get to dump that bucket of all the goop out from the extractor machine, it can feel so good. Like, look at all of that crap that came out of that car. Okay, headliner. Yeah, it's really rough. And take care when you're cleaning a headliner, because you don't want to make it saggy or look pilled. So I recommend you use, well, watch lots of YouTube videos and then use a soft brush. Going into the rear here. Okay, so we got a little bit of staining on the seat here, but otherwise it's fine. I did drive a GC8 as my family car at a time that I had only one kid. Up to 2 kids, it's probably doable. After that, you won't have enough room in the center here in order to have car seat, and a person. But size-wise, it's pretty similar to most sport compacts, like a Volkswagen GTi, for example. Actually, pretty similar to an R33. In terms of interior space. You would think it'd be a little bit smaller, but it's actually a bit bigger. And the 4 doors make it a little bit easier. And you can get these in 2-door if you want, but you pay more for the 2-door, about 20 to 25% more. Inside here, no rust. Our GC8, the one in the corner there, has a lot of rust in this area here on both sides. This one doesn't have it. It does have some spots in there, but as far as I can tell, all of this is solid. It is the beginnings of where rust is going to come though. And so you're going to want to brush that out and repaint it before it turns into real rust. And look at that. The car that was expected to come in came in while I wasn't shooting the video. I mean, I'm going to shut this down in just a few seconds here. So that's the end of the report here. Hope it wasn't too weird to have the report inside the lot for once. This is where we used to shoot them back when we had more space and fewer cars coming in though. Anyways, there you go. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video and have a nice day.